What's up, everybody? It's week one, and it's the Chargers versus the Raiders. And you guys already know that I'm excited for the game. A lot of things going to happen tomorrow. Antonio Pierce shook that interim tag, and now he is coaching his first game as the Las Vegas Raiders head coach. No more interim tag. Going into SoFi, where Antonio Pierce last year beat these Chargers 63-21. There was a lot that went into that game. That is different than this season. So this season, the Raiders have made some changes of their own, but the Chargers on the other side now have Justin Herbert ready to go. They're without Keenan Allen. They do not have Mike Williams anymore. So their wide receiver core is Joshua Palmer. DJ Chark is out this game. Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey. So basically two young guys going for them. You can consider Joshua Palmer young too as well, but I think he's in his third or fourth year. But the Raiders taking on the Chargers in SoFi Stadium. The Raiders home away from home, even though the Raiders have a hard time winning in SoFi Stadium. The Raiders have one win in SoFi since it's been open, and that's not good. We got to shake that and get that going for the Raiders. But Raiders are going to have to go to SoFi Stadium without Malcolm Koonce. They're going to have to go to SoFi Stadium without JPJ, which is something that we didn't want to see. And they got to go in there without the Kamarian Richardson, the defensive back. But they have brought up fan favorite Snowden, who a lot of people love and watched him during the preseason, fell in love with him. So he's going to get his chance. Tyree Wilson, are you going to show up this week? Can we get something out of Tyree Wilson with Malcolm Koonce on the sideline? That's what everybody's asking. That's what everybody's wondering. Tyree Wilson needs to step up. And the guy that I really think that Raider Nation is going to fall in love with even more this year, Janarius Robinson, as that guy just has a motor. Him being on the opposite side of Max Crosby will help out. I mean, it's a big loss. Missing Malcolm Koonce is not something to just blink your eye out. It is a big loss for the Raiders on that defensive line, as Malcolm Koonce was, I think, number 2 in the league in sacks the final 10 weeks of the season. So missing him, and he's on the IR. They put him on the IR. He's gone for 4 weeks, at least 4 weeks. So hopefully we'll see a speedy recovery from him. But both teams, looking at this game, both teams are going to want to do the same exact thing, right? Jesus, what's up? I hope for the Raiders win tomorrow. If you guys are watching on TikTok or on YouTube, my main priority will be on YouTube. That's where it's easier to pull up the comments. So if you can come over to YouTube, that's where I can pull up most of your comments. But I will be checking back and forth from YouTube and TikTok. We're just basically talking about the game tomorrow in SoFi Stadium, which I will be at. I will go down to SoFi Stadium tomorrow. I was supposed to be in LA today. I didn't feel good this morning, so I didn't go down there early. But I will be at SoFi Stadium in the morning. Be at tailgate. The pink lot is where it's at. You got the Raiders tailgate here, and then the little I don't know, what's that called? Like a drive, like where the cars drive, like little street, I guess. And then you cross that and you're into Thunder Alley. So both tailgates sit right next to each other at SoFi Stadium. It's going to be a real cool atmosphere. You'll run into fans, and it's week one, so everybody is going to be optimistic about what their team can do this season. And like I was saying, both of these teams want to do the exact same thing. Both of these teams want to establish a run with the unproven running back, Gus Edwards on one side, Zamir White taking over for the Raiders on our side. And we got our offensive line without JPJ, which you're looking at our offensive line and you're like, who's playing left guard? We already know Mumford is in at right tackle. Parham's in there at right guard. Andre James back at center and Colton Miller at left tackle. But who's going to play that right or that left guard position? Cody Whitehair is listed as a starter. Could Pete be in there as Pete is? I know a lot of Raider fans are like, Pete got his ass kicked in the regular or in the preseason. We don't want to see any more. But that's because the Raiders were having to play Pete at offensive tackle with Colton Miller being out and just getting him more reps there. But Pete is more of a guard, so he will be is better fit there. But we could also see Meredith there as well. But It'd be interesting to see how that offensive line gels together in this first game. The good thing is we don't have that bullshit that Josh McDaniels was pulling last year with the Russian roulette of the offensive line. If you remember the last 2 years, Josh McDaniels would never put an offensive line out there that was his five. He would put five, and then in the second quarter, switch it up. In the third quarter, switch it up. And he did that for like the first 4 or 5 games until he found the 5 guys he liked. Now we're actually putting guys out there that have been working together all offseason and getting their their camaraderie together for this game. Besides Malcolm Kuntz and JPJ, and besides the 3 guys that are out, the Raiders are really going in here pretty damn healthy, right? So that has to be something good. Like, you got to like that we got Devontae Adams. You got to like that Jacoby Myers is ready to go. Trey Tucker is going to go over the top. And then Brock Bowers should be playing. Like, Brock Bowers was limited the first 2 days, the last couple of days of practice, full participant. So Brock Bowers should be out there with Michael Myers or Michael Mayer. So you will be happy to see the tight ends going. But once, like I said, if you guys are reading the injury reports, don't take the first 2 days of the injury report too serious. Wednesday, Thursday, if it's limited, full participant, not participating, don't take those into account. The one you want to look at is Friday, and when they look at Friday, and if it says that they practice just a little bit, even if it's limited, there's a good chance that they're going to go on Sunday. So remember that throughout the whole season when you're looking at the injury reports. Sorry, I missed a question over here on TikTok. Somebody said, took the Raiders defense in my FanDuel lineup. I think the Chargers offense is going to be atrocious. Here's the thing, like, Justin Herbert is a very good quarterback. No matter what us Raider fans want to say and want to believe, Justin Herbert can sling that fucking ball, and he's going to have to do it with no-name young wide receivers. Like I've already talked about it, Joshua Palmer, who Joshua Palmer did. He torched Bennett last year in that 63-21 loss late in the game. I think it was right after halftime where they scored. So you got that going. Quentin Johnson can't hold on to a damn ball. And Ladd McConkey, he's trying to make a name out of himself in that Chargers wide receiver room. So it's going to be interesting. But Gus Edwards, like, the Raiders offense or the Raiders defense can't sleep on Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards, when 100%, when healthy, which he is right now going into the season, Gus Edwards, I think, had what? 700 yards last year, and I'm trying to think of the touchdowns. I could pull it up if I wanted to. I want to see double-digit touchdowns with the Ravens last year. Of course, that was helpful with Lamar Jackson, like every team trying to stop Lamar Jackson. But Gus Edwards is a valuable, good running back in the NFL, especially under the Roman offense. But Jack Jones might lead the league in interceptions, is what somebody just said. Sorry, I just saw that right now. Jack Jones coming out saying he does. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was a great quote by Jack Jones where he said, "I don't want to lead the league in pass breakups." He goes, "That's a good stat to have, but I want to lead the league in pick sixes." And he wants to do it against one of the best in Justin Herbert this weekend. Like, if Jack Jones takes one to the house, SoFi Stadium is going to go fucking nuts. And you guys already know that it's already expected to be 70% or more in SoFi Stadium. This we're going to black it out, right? We're encourage all Raider fans to wear black to SoFi Stadium. The only bad thing about that, it's going to be fucking hot. And if you've never been to SoFi Stadium, it's an indoor-outdoor stadium, which is a dumbass idea. A lot of people praise SoFi Stadium because it looks beautiful, but it's a crappy design of a stadium. You can't even walk the full stadium. You get stuck in the middle, and you have to go up and down. It's dumb. And in days like this, where there's a heat wave in Los Angeles, it's going to be hot. Where that dome, or half a dome because it doesn't close down, that dome, that little roof area, keeps the weather and the hot sun in. So make sure you guys, like, even though you guys be like, I'm going to the game and I'm not going to burn up. There's a roof on there. wear your sunblock because it's going to get to you no matter what that sun goes through. Gonna mention this real quick. If you guys are on the YouTube channel, in the two corners, you guys see these t-shirts, the Just Win Baby Al Davis one right here and the Max Crosby Condor one right here. This is t-shirts from my company, Fifth Down Shop. Fifth Down Shop. If you go there right now and you use the promo code 5DFAM, 5DFAM, I'll put it right here for you guys on TikTok. If you use this promo code, you will get 10% off for a limited time. 10% off for a limited time. This is the Raider one right here. I will be handing these cards out. If you guys see me at SoFi Stadium, I'll be handing these out this weekend. It's we're pushing this weekend. This is our first time launching these shirts, so you can be one of the first people in the whole world to have one of these shirts right here. I will be wearing the Max Crosby one, which you could tell, like if you were on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. They're in both of the I'm on YouTube and they're in both of the corners. You could just take a picture of the QR code that's on the screen and you can go straight to that shirt. But yeah, here it is again. If you guys are on TikTok, sorry, the light is kind of glaring it, but there you guys go. I'll be handing these out tomorrow. Check them out. Let me know what you guys think. If you have another shirt idea that you want to see, I'll get it to you. But Fifth Down Shop, 5DFAM. 5DFAM is the promo code to get yourself 10% off on there. All right, we took care of our business right there. Let's talk about this game. The Raiders, right? The Raiders are +3 going into the game with the over/under of 40. I think it dropped it a little bit, right? Because wasn't the wasn't the points 44 or 42 earlier in the week? So I think they dropped it just a little bit. I'm taking the under because I think I have the Raiders winning. I have the Raiders winning this game. I think the Raiders are able to win it. I will be at the game tomorrow. Yes, I will be at the game tomorrow. I have the Raiders winning the game tomorrow against the Chargers. I think I had it under 40s, but I was going like 19 to 13 or something like that. I think the Raiders will struggle against the run for a little bit, but if you've been watching the Raiders with Patrick Graham as their defensive coordinator, the one thing you do realize is Patrick Graham is a little conservative in the first quarter, and the Raiders, especially on the first drive, the Raiders have been getting beat on the first drive. And then they calm down and get their rhythm going and start to shut people down. So please don't get discouraged if the Chargers score early or if the Raiders don't look as good on their first drive on defense. You have to get it going. You saw it yesterday in the Eagles-Packers game. That first quarter was boring as shit. Nobody really wanted to watch that game. You're watching it going, what the hell is going on? And then both offenses started to pick it up. That's going to be the same thing at SoFi. Gardner Minshew has to go out there. Sorry. Oh, man, don't be sending me bullshit. What size is the shirt? The shirt that we have, or you can get any size. It goes from small all the way up to 5X because it has to fit my fat ass. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Fit Down shirts right here. Check out that Raider one, guys. And then the Condor one right here. You can get that on a shirt or a sweater as well, but 5DFAM. Anyway, so like I was saying about the Raiders tomorrow, the Raiders defensive line has to be able to stop the run. That's what we brought in Christian Wilkins for. That's what we got these linebackers for in Diablo and Spillane. And the guy that everybody wanted to see make the team, Amari Gaynor. So he's going to be out there. Let's see how the Raiders do against the run because we were questioning it in the preseason. And we questioned it last year, but the run stop needs to be there. What's up, Matt? How you doing? If you were on TikTok, please consider coming over to YouTube and talking on there where I can see you and you guys can see the screen that I have set up. I am watching the Colorado game or Colorado. And a lot of Raider fans are interested in seeing how Sanders plays because even if Gardner Minshew has a career year, and this is what Raider fans get mad about, they're like, we can't talk about a quarterback because we don't know how Gardner Minshew is going to be. Even if Gardner Minshew is the fucking MVP, is the MVP of the league this year, the Raiders have to do something next year in free agency or in the draft for a quarterback. No matter what. No matter what, the Raiders have to be looking for a quarterback next season, no matter how good Gardner Minshew does. So if you are watching this Colorado-Nebraska game, you are interested in watching what Sanders does. And right now, this is a good time to watch it because everybody knows how cocky Sanders is and how he does when he's winning. I want to see this in a game that he's getting his ass kicked, or his team's getting his ass kicked. I want to see how he communicates with his teammates and how he continues to take the offense down the field, even losing. So this is not great for the college team of Colorado because they, of course, want to go to the playoffs. But this is good if you're like a scout watching the college team and watching the quarterback because you want to see how he deals with adversity. So I think it's a good thing. What's up, Josh or Jose Lara? What's up, Raiders? Yeah, if you could drop a Raiders in the chat or wherever you're at on TikTok, on YouTube, drop that Raiders. Because let me know you're ready for the game tomorrow because tomorrow starts the march towards making the Raiders great again. And I totally believe in Antonio Pierce. And I can't tell you guys how much Antonio Pierce means to these players and how he's got them locked in. Nate is saying he thinks the Raiders go after Dak next offseason. I think it's a very, very great possibility as well, even though I love to give Cowboy fans and Dak a hard time about how he plays. Dak Prescott is a pretty damn good quarterback. Now the Raiders would have to shell out a lot of money, maybe $60 million a season. But if we can keep that core, the wide receiver core that we have, build the offensive line just a little bit, it'd be worth it. Somebody keeps asking, am I going to the game tomorrow? Yes, I will be at the game tomorrow. What's up, Trav? How about the Broncos? I got the Seahawks beating your Broncos tomorrow. Sorry to bring that up. Angel talking about the Bakersfield Drillers. But yeah, sorry, here we go. It's your boy. What's up, Manny? Saying what's up, Joe? There it is. There's that Raiders. Orb is saying Sanders is overrated. I mentioned the guy I liked last week from there's Jose saying his Raiders. I liked Dylan from Oregon, and then people were like, "Oh, he's too short." I don't even think height matters in the NFL anymore. Like height, weight, everything that we looked at in the past, I don't look at that anymore. When I'm looking at players, I'm looking at toughness and what they can bring to the table each and every week. And we just got to find players that love football. And that's what that's what Antonio Pierce has been able to do and get ready for this game tomorrow. We're going to see a new attitude from the Raiders. We saw a little bit of it last year, but this is a whole offseason of hanging out with Antonio Pierce, seeing what he's about. And this is what people don't understand about the Raiders. This is what is very underrated about the Raiders and Antonio Pierce. Like ESPN, Raider fucking haters. Raider haters all day, right? So if you ever see an article from me, this is why you want to know why people talk negative about the Raiders. I'll start there. You want to know why the Raiders? Everybody talks negative about the Raiders because the Raider Nation believes in our team, and we always back our team no matter what. 100%, we're gonna be there talking shit. So if you want to put down the Raiders, we're gonna attack you. And what does that bring? What does that do to you? It drives the ratings. It drives their pages up, and that's why ESPN loves to hate on the Raiders because they know when they talk bad about the Raiders, the Raider Nation is going to come after them, and it's going to draw traffic to their website. So the ESPN put out earlier this year that the Raiders have the worst coaching staff in the NFL. The worst coaching staff in the NFL. I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit on that because you can't sit here and tell me there's better teams out there. I'm not saying the Raiders have the number one team. They were number one. And yes, there is question marks with Antonio Pierce. And Antonio Pierce will admit it to himself. He doesn't know everything. And he's learning on the job as well. but he brought in Marvin Lewis. Tom Coughlin, Super Bowl winning champion, is sitting there in the Raiders meeting rooms at practice. You're going to tell me that Tom Coughlin's influence is bad for the Raiders? Marvin Lewis's influence is bad for the Raiders? Like Joe Philbin, who was a great offensive mind for the Packers, had a bad, rough time in Miami, had some deaths and stuff going on that affected his head coaching time there. But 19 years and with his senior offensive experience, Joe Philbin is not. You're going to tell me that's not helping out? That he's not in there helping out? Like, I don't know. Mike Caldwell on defense, another guy who has like almost 30 years of experience. The Raiders have so much talent on their coaching staff that it's ridiculous to me. And then you have former players like Andre Carter, Ricky Manning, on their team. I know I'm missing a couple of them, but those are just names that are. Or who's our running back coach? Carnell Williams, Cadillac Williams is our running back coach. These are like great people and a very good, experienced wide receiver coach in Edgar Bennett. So these are. I don't know how ESPN can come out there and tell us that we have one of the worst coaching staff. These guys right here on game day are going to help Antonio Pierce make the adjustments that he needs to do at halftime and get him on track. Ken is saying whoever dominates the run game tomorrow wins the game. And then he says, let's go Zeus. That's right. Pierce is a motivator and has guys to call the offense and defense, and he will learn from more experience. Yes, I agree. I agree with that 100%. Pierce lets his coaches do their job, right? There's a lot of head coaches that have an offensive coordinator, and they don't call the plays. I'm the head coach. I'm an offensive guy. I'm going to call the plays. And sometimes that doesn't work good. If you're the head coach, that's what you should be. I think Dan Campbell does the same thing. You are the motivator. You run everything. You handle the timeouts, and you get the team going for Sunday or Monday, whenever that team is playing. If you guys are ready for the game, AP has brought so much energy into the building. It's actually insane. It is. And this is what I don't want to see from the Raider Nation. It takes time to get going, right? And the Chargers, they're going to be a damn good team. We should beat the Chargers. And then we go into Baltimore, but we're going to take it one day at a time. The Raiders don't have the easiest schedule. If the Raiders struggle and they get it going and they're like 2-2, 1-2, 2-3, I don't want to hear the doubt on Antonio Pierce. We need to keep building. I have the Raiders going 9-8 this season, which I think is a pretty damn good record for the Raiders. I know a lot of people would be pissed off because we want to see playoffs. We want to see the Raiders improve. But what you got to look at is the team as a whole. If the team is moving forward, if the team isn't making stupid mistakes by the end of the season, and they're looking better than they were at the beginning of the season, and the growth is there, Antonio Pierce is doing his job. Raiders have had good enough defense. They should hang in most games, and that's where I'm counting on. I'm counting on the Raider defense to keep the other team from scoring, which we saw in the last 10 games of last season. Oh, my gosh. Oh, sorry. That just threw me off. Nebraska touchdown again. Wow. Yeah, I'm watching Nebraska, and I'm talking about the Raiders, which is great stuff. Max Crosby last year. I got robbed last year. I don't know if anybody else says. I've been saying that the whole time. I could see if TJ Watt was named Defensive Player of the Year last year. Myles Garrett didn't have the stats. I'm not knocking what Myles Garrett is. Myles Garrett is a great player. But Myles Garrett's stats didn't line up to Max Crosby, didn't line up to TJ Watt. And what Max Crosby has done by himself, what Max Crosby has been able to do with the defense, with the defensive line that has nobody else with him. Like, he had no other playmakers with him. This year is a different story with Christian Wilkins coming in. Max Crosby gets a ton of pressures. Pressures has been getting close to the quarterback and almost getting the sack or right there. So Max Crosby, I don't think the NFL realizes, or as fans, we don't look at pressures the way we should. Over 100 pressures is fucking ridiculous for Max Crosby. And I think people are starting to see that and starting to realize that pressure category on the stat book is very, very important. And Max Crosby will start to get more love from the voters this season when they start looking at that pressure category. But like I said, this game right here has a lot of things going. You don't think that the Chargers want to do exactly the same thing? This is Harbaugh's mentality. He wants to run the ball, and he wants to play good defense. Don't turn the ball over. That's what Gardner Minshew has two things to do tomorrow. One, not turn the damn ball over, and two, don't throw a hospital ball to any of our wide receivers because I don't want to see anybody taken out. But there is another third one is to our offense needs to stay on the field, and that's where Zeus and the rest of the running back. I have a feeling that Alexander Madison is going to have a good year for us. I do like Alexander Madison, somebody that who got a bad rap last year because he couldn't get in the red zone, and somebody was telling me like he couldn't score for the Minnesota Vikings, and then I go back and watch like 6 or 7 plays in a row of Alexander Madison on the Vikings, and the guard is just getting tore up, and Alexander Madison gets the ball, and he's already done. And so I think it was just very bad play design for a running back like him, where Luke Getsy is going to have a great running attack ready for the Raiders. And if this is something that we haven't seen, I think, with the Raiders offense in a while, is just the different designs and motions to switch everybody up. Where the offensive line is going to the right and the running back goes to the left. Just that alone is something we haven't seen. We've seen old school, like even if you want to say that Josh McDaniels was an offensive genius, his offense was starting to get outdated in the NFL, or he was just trying to be too damn smart. What's going on, Buddha? How you doing? Will McAllister be returning? I don't think he's the main returner. I still think Abdullah is back there. I think if they have two of them, which you've seen the NFL with the new kickoff rules, they have both of them out there. Abdullah and McAllister will be back there. I think Trey Tucker will be handling the punts. But if they need a big boost, I'm sure they'll throw him out there. It's good to see McAllister actually making the team, though. So we got some young receivers to go along with it. One guy I'm interested to see if he's going to get into the game is Lalu. I don't know if he made an impact with being here for the 2 weeks. And it's who they draft or claimed off waivers. The defensive tackle they claimed off waivers from Indianapolis. He actually had a pretty good preseason with Indianapolis. The only thing is Indianapolis has too many damn good defensive tackles. They can't keep them all. And he was just drafted this year. Anybody remember Nanmi Asamoah? Everybody should, right? Everybody should remember him and what he did and how he shut down the one side of the field. Then they brought in D'Angelo Hall to be on the opposite side of him. And what happened to D'Angelo Hall? He only lasted 8 games. Malcolm Kuntz, they haven't really said anything about the injury, like what the main thing about his injury. But Malcolm Kuntz has been put on the IR, which means he will miss at least 4 weeks. And it was a non-contact injury. So that is one thing about Malcolm Kuntz. Am I going to the game tomorrow? Yes, I'm going to the game. Jimmy G, why wouldn't you glaze Jimmy G? The fucking beautiful man, Jimmy G. Why wouldn't you glaze somebody like Jimmy G? Holy shit, when Jimmy G walks in the room, everybody goes quiet and everybody's dick goes up. That's how you glaze Jimmy G. Like, put some respect on Jimmy G, my guy. Here's the one thing that that I have an issue with. Like, I'm not afraid to be wrong. If you ever watch me or watch my content, I'm not afraid to be wrong. And I will give you my take and how I feel about it, and I won't take it down. I will leave it up. I won't back down from it because this is my take. Like if I'm giving you my take, this is my take at the moment. Am I allowed to change it? At any time, yes. But am I going to say, oh, no, I never said that? No, because it's okay to be wrong. We are fans. We're football fans. Like when I'm watching the game tomorrow and the Raiders go out there and score a touchdown, they're up 7-0, and say the Raiders go up 14-0. You don't think I'm going to be like, hell yeah, Raiders winning this game. And then if somehow after halftime the Raiders lose the game, people are going to be like, oh, you spoke too early. Oh, you jinxed us. The fuck I did. What I did was be a fan. And you got to be a fan. You got to be happy. You got to enjoy the moment as a fan. Don't sit there and go, well, yeah, it's 14-0, but we could lose this game. Enjoy the moment as a fan. Every moment, we don't get a lot of these, guys. We get 18 weeks a season. If the playoffs, we get it. We get those little moments. Just have fun being a fan. And I know, go with the ups and downs of the game, and that's the best part. That's the best way to watch a game. That's what I love about football is being pumped up, going down, and then the team be losing. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. We're gonna lose this again, and then being pumped up for the touchdown. Just have fun. That's all I gotta say. Is have fun with the game. 99% of people's predictions never happen. 100%. You're 100%. That when I first started doing my podcasts or videos and stuff like that, that was the one thing I struggled with. I was like, I want to be right. I can't say that. Like people are gonna think this and all that. And then I was like, you know what? We watch ESPN. We watch Fox, whatever sports. We watch NFL Network. All those people on there, Skip Bayless, what's his name? Stephen A. Smith, all of them are fucking wrong. Every single one of them are wrong. And we don't, but then we will attack the guy on the internet. We'll attack the fat guy on the internet because he was wrong one time. But since Stephen A. Smith is on TV, we'll let him go on that one. We'll be like, you're good. You're good on that one. That's what I think is funny. Like everybody has an opinion, and not everybody's going to be right. Yeah, they're paid to be wrong. That's the funny thing is we make fun of baseball players because they hit 200 and they fell 8 out of 10 times. Am I in LA? No, I'm not. Sports people are just like weathermen. I love that. That's a great one because weathermen are always wrong too. But that's it's the truth about it. Like fantasy football. If you play fantasy football, how hard is it to predict fantasy football? It's very hard. And people are like, I'm very good at it. No, you're lucky. You're lucky that these guys went off. You're lucky, if you're playing against Josh Jacobs yesterday. You're lucky that he had a bad game. You're lucky that field was fucked up. There's a lot that goes into fantasy football, and everybody's going to be wrong, except for official Sal Chavez. He's going to be right. He said Raiders 65-0 tomorrow as his final score. So I like that. I'm of course official Sal is never wrong. Everything else I was talking about is wrong except for official Sal. He is 100% correct. So if just know that when you're watching the Raider game tomorrow, official Sal said it's going to be 65-0. And when the final score says 65-0, please go back and give official Sal his love because he's going to need it. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I want to say what's up. Thank you. And make sure you guys hit that like button. If you guys are watching on TikTok, I appreciate you turning in. If you would come over on YouTube and give me that little bit of love, you can see the T-shirts that I have up in the corners. One is the Just Win Baby with the Al Davis, the Torch, the Oakland Coliseum. Love that one. And then in the other corner, you have the Condor Max Crosby T-shirt. And here it is. I'll better hold it. Here's the card for you guys if you guys want to check these out. Fitdownshop.com or fitdown.shop. Check it out. And then for a limited time, promo code 5DFAM for 10% off. These are my company with NFL Mike. We have every team available. So if you're not a Raider fan or Charger fan, there's 49er stuff. There's every T-shirt up there, but there is two different Raider shirts up there, and I love both of them. I'll be wearing one tomorrow. So if you guys see me at SoFi Stadium and you actually want to see the T-shirt in person, come by and say what's up to me. I'll be walking around Pink Lot. I know it's funny. We got to say Pink Lot, right? It's in SoFi Stadium. Pink Lot is where the Raider tailgate will be at, and you already know I think I've already talked to Mr. Fitz, Samoan Raider, Raider Jesse, the GOAT, All in Autumn Win, MC Raider, all of them. I talked to them all today. They're all going to be out there. Lot J Tacos are going to be out there. I think the Wrecking Crew is going to be out there. Everybody that you normally see at games in Las Vegas should be out there tomorrow. Can I use the inverted filter on my live? I don't know. That one better? I don't even know. I don't even remember even like pushing that button. So it must just automatically do it. But is that better for you, bud? Any hookups on the tickets? I wish I had hookups on the tickets. I don't. That's what the crazy part is. I got to spend all this money to go to all these games. Like everybody always assumes that. Oh, Joe, I saw you at the game. You must have got hooked up. No, this is coming out of my own pocket. I spend my own money, and I know my wife sometimes gets mad, but yeah, I spend my own money on the tickets. I wish I had somebody that hooked me up. I wish the Raiders would be calling and be like, "Hey, Joe, here you go." It's about 100 in LA. Yeah, the heat wave is in full effect in Los Angeles. It's crazy down there. It's going to be hot. Drink your water. Make sure you guys are drinking a lot of water, especially if you're tailgating all damn day. We don't need to see people passing out because of the heat. We want you to have a great time. And one thing, Raider fans, let's not snoop to the Charger fans level. Let's try to go. It won't happen, but can we go a game without fighting? Can we go a game at SoFi Stadium without seeing fights? Like that is one of the worst things to ever see at a stadium because you're taking kids, and sometimes this is their first time ever seeing a football game, and you ruin the experience for them. Like fighting does nothing for you but ruin the experience for everybody around you and make you have more legal costs later on. It's just plain stupid. Control yourself. If you're gonna drink responsibly and don't be a fucking idiot. That's all I ask. Raiders below 20 in the rankings, 10,000 less. I don't know what that means. The thing is, SoFi, the Raider fans start the fights. I'm going to try and get the Bucks. What up? What up, Preston? Yeah, hit me up with some details on that. Seems like everybody's picking on the Chargers. This is a home game for the Raiders. There you go. It stays spunky when we play the fraudulent Chargers or Rogers in LA. I like that one. Hit stick or stepper. There you go. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, don't ruin your life for a dumbass fight. Not worth it. It's not worth it to get in a fight in SoFi Stadium over some Charger fans, especially week one. We save that energy for the rest of the season because when the Raiders are winning later on, we're going to need you in the stands cheering. And if you haven't been to Las Vegas, that's where we need to go. That's where we need to start filling up the stadiums, guys. Like I know we take over SoFi Stadium. We need to continually get more fans into Allegiant Stadium each and every week, and we need to back our team up. Let's be honest. Do you think you're going to beat the Chargers? I do. I really do. I think the Raiders defense is going to be able to get to Justin Herbert tomorrow. You got to remember the Chargers. Everybody, this is an offensive line for the Chargers that has great players on it with Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson. But then that other side, I know Pipkins. I know people are like, Pipkins is good. He's an average starter. They have a new center this year, and they have Joe Alt, the rookie, out there who's going to get tested. So if you're going to attack it, you're going to attack the right side of that offensive line. And I think the Raiders' defense is going to be good enough. And Justin Herbert has gotten time in camp, but I don't know if he's got enough time to get the offense rhythm going. And the Chargers are going to be a team that's going to build throughout the season. I think we're playing them at a great time in week one. Yeah, somebody just said Justin Herbert has Subway workers as his wide receivers. Yeah, without DJ Chark is out this game. So they have Quentin Johnson, Joshua Palmer, Ladd McConkey, Brendan Rice, and Feheko. I don't know how to say that guy's name as their guy. And then Will Desi and Hayden Hurst. And you would think that tight end would be where they want to attack the ball too. But his sticker's going 20-18 with the Raiders getting that dub. I think I'm right there with you. I put around 19-13. I don't know why I picked 19. I just did. I have Zamir White on my fantasy league because of that right there. I think Zamir White gets us at least one touchdown because when we get down to the red zone, that's where they're going to use him the most. They're going to let him. They're going to give Zamir White the rock every time they can and try to pound that ball. If Luke Getsy loves to run the ball, and if the Raiders could run the ball 50 times, they're going to run the ball 50 times as long as it's fucking working. That's going to be like one way to keep the other offense from scoring is to keep your offense on the field, and that's going to help out a lot come tomorrow. So expect a heavy dose of the Raiders running game. I would love to see Lobby in there. I don't know if he does get in there, but I would love to see him get out there. Joe, really think you should come on here and do more lives. Really enjoy your takes. I appreciate that, man. I will try to do it as more often as I can. Getting used to it again. I didn't do any lives. I don't think I did a lot of lives in the off season, so that kind of got me. It's just trying to do it more. But now that I got the YouTube channel going and I got the TikTok going, I will do that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you liking it. Yeah, I'm with you too. I wish JPJ Jackson Powers Johnson would have been able to play this week as well. But he is a young guy. We're going to have him over the course of of 10 years, hopefully, if not more. He's going to be a great guard for us and somebody that we need to get healthy. And you knew when training camp, when he was missing all this time, that week one wasn't questioned. So it's just good to take it slow with him, especially when we're going to need him later on. Come on, man. Stop trying to ignore me. You see my text. I don't know if you've ever been on this side of a live. Sometimes the texts are going so quick you don't see stuff. So, like I said, the easiest way for me to read your comment is to come over to the YouTube channel, the Joe Morley on YouTube. I'll pull your comment on the screen. That's the easiest way. TikTok, it just goes pretty damn quick. But coworkers are all saying Chargers are winning, but the Raiders team is different. Well, the Raiders will always be hated. No matter the only people that love Raiders are Raider fans. You still have me blocked on Instagram? If I have you blocked on Instagram, then I should block you on here, right? That was easy. I blocked them on here. I mean, if I have you blocked on Instagram, there's a reason I have you blocked. So I might as well block you on here. Wilkins won't do shit tomorrow. I doubt it. When you're going to find out how good Wilkins is tomorrow, especially with Max Crosby. A lot of people judging what you saw on the preseason. Max Crosby, Wilkins, and the rest of the defensive line that were starters were just getting their work in. They weren't going to go full speed against some backup guys. They're getting their work in the preseason and then got out of the game. You're going to see the stunts tomorrow. You're going to see blitzes tomorrow. Stuff that the Raiders defense didn't do in the preseason, because in the preseason you're doing what? It's exactly what J.J. McCarthy said. You're going to run a vanilla defense. And this right here here's what's going to make our defensive backs better. This is what makes the defensive backs better. A great defensive line. And like a lot of people always tell me, like, oh, this team has the best defensive backs in the league. I don't give a fuck who your defensive back is. I don't care the names of your defensive back. When you're looking at the San Francisco 49ers, do you name their defensive backs? No, because you name their defensive line. Their defensive line, when you're putting pressure on the quarterback and the quarterback is getting rid of the ball in two seconds, and you're making him make a split decision, more than likely he's going to be wrong. More than likely the ball is going to go on the ground, or he's going to float it to somebody. It's going to be picked off. And that's where your defensive backs start to get help. Last year, when you don't have a good defensive line and the quarterback is able to sit back there all damn day, which some of the quarterbacks that the Raiders played last year were able to, they're going to pick you apart, because no matter how good your defensive back is, no matter how good Jack Jones is, no matter how good Bennett plays, they can't run with a wide receiver for 4 or 5 seconds. They're going to get burnt. They're going to give up the play. What's up, Manuel? How you doing? What's my take on the Browns and Cowboy game, and wondering what I'm going to go there. I think I've I know I like to piss off Cowboy fans, but I think the Cowboys are going to look like very bad tomorrow, and I think the Browns are winning that game. Even though I do not like Deshaun Watson, but that Browns defense is going to show up tomorrow. There's no running back there's no running game for the Dallas Cowboys, right? So the Dallas Cowboys are going to struggle to run the ball. Then they got to hope that CeeDee Lamb is 100% ready to go and get on pace with Dak Prescott, which they got. Come on, you already know there's going to be learning curves there. The Cowboy defense can be nasty, but how long can they hold up? This is week 1. You're still learning a new defense, and you got to remember when you're learning a new defense, what's going on in your head? You're thinking way too much. Am I supposed to be in this spot? Am I there? And it's going to make you a second or two too late. This is why, and I go back to the Raiders. This is why you see the Raider defense improving in year 3, because the thinking is gone. They know exactly where they're supposed to be. Dallas Cowboy defense has the players, and I think the Deron Bland injury is a big injury, even though people are going to downplay it. You have Diggs coming back from an injury on the other side. They're going to be thinking too much in that Zimmer defense the first couple of games until they get used to it and used to who they're playing next to. So I have the Cleveland Browns winning that game tomorrow, just with a heavy dose of Jerome Ford. But who the hell am I? I could be wrong too. Or I could be wrong all the time. I think they're used to it now. They should be. Yeah, but it takes a while. Like, same thing with the Eagles defense, right? Vic Fangio, you know that if you go and look at Vic Fangio's defense and how long it takes teams to learn and his curve, it's usually like the first year they're not that good, second year they're better, and third year they get going. Sorry. Preston ain't the best, but Herbs has been the worst. You need to keep the veterans around to keep the playoff going. Yeah, veterans are key. Having veterans in the locker room help out a lot. And you've been hearing that a lot about the Raiders and about the young players talk about the veteran leadership in the Raiders organization and how they bring people under their wing. You can't have veterans in there that are always going to put and be concerned about their job. Like, oh, I'm not going to help that guy out because I'm going to lose my job. No, you want to get better. You want everybody, every guy on that 53-man roster to be good. Any concerns that Graham being 0-2 versus Roman with his defense allowing 200-plus rushing yards? Great question by Compas on the Beat. If you guys want to follow them, that's a great question over there, and they should know. I don't really have a concern. I was talking about Graham and the way the Raiders defense starts off slow. So in that first quarter, first series, the Raiders defense is more likely going to get marched up and down the field. Like Graham, watching Graham the last couple of years, the first series is where the Raiders defense struggles, and we've seen it multiple times. So would it surprise me if they find the weak spot in that Raiders defensive line and run Gus Edwards up there? No. And everybody knows that that the Raiders have struggled and will struggle against the run. And that's where I'm not crowning Joe Alt. I think that's what it is. I'm not going to give Joe Alt the benefit of a doubt because he was a great offensive tackle at Notre Dame in the college. And now he's automatically a great offensive tackle in the NFL because he went up against some guys in training camp. I'm not going to crown Trey Pickens as their great. I think the center, the left guard, or the right guard, and the right tackle is where the Raiders are going to attack. And I think that's going to slow down that running game just a little bit of the Chargers. And the Raiders should be able to stack the box this game against the Chargers, right? You got to think that nobody is scared of Quentin Johnston, nobody's scared of Joshua Palmer, and nobody's scared of Ladd McConkey until they prove otherwise, until they prove why teams should be scared of that wide receiver core. Why would anybody have to double team these guys or have to do anything special on these wide receivers? It's just that's what I'm looking at. Now, like I said earlier, Will Disley, Hayden Hurst, those are different stories because the Raiders Raiders get their ass kicked by tight ends every once in a while, right? There's always a tight end that's wide open somewhere, and now those guys are two of the guys that I might be watching that I'm like, oh damn. Um, but Justin Herbert coming back, getting that rush on him. We'll see how that goes. See how if that foot is 100% right. It's supposed to be. It was never really that serious, according to all reports. But game time is different. When you like preseason's over, this is 100%. These guys are going at it because money is being made in the regular season. Um, but yeah, I'm interested in seeing it. And I think the same thing goes for the Raiders. When Zeus is out there, they have to show that Zamir White can get it done. Hey, Zamir White proving that he was the better pick over the Chargers. What was the running back that the Chargers took one pick later? I can't remember it, but yeah, the running back. I can't. Why can't I remember his name now? Because it doesn't matter. Spiller. Remember, Zeus went here one pick ahead of Spiller, and the Chargers got rid of Spiller. Thank you, Bolts. 4-13 coming for the Raiders. The over/under in Las Vegas for the Raiders is 6 wins, 6.5 wins this year, and I would smash that over. I would take that over in any bets that I'm doing. I have the Raiders going 9-8. I really wanted to give them that 10th win, but that's very tough. Very tough schedule, and going against the Chargers. You know, Jim, you're going against Harbaugh. You're going against Sean Payton, and you're going against Andy Reid 2 times a year. It's very tough for you. Raiders for life. What's up, Dave? How you doing? 10 wins is delusional. That's why I didn't give them 10 wins. That's why I went 9. Oh, he outsmarted it. Anyways, if you guys are just joining me, throw that in the chat wherever you guys are. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on TikTok, make sure you let me know that you're a Raider fan, and make sure you guys hit that like button. You haven't seen the Raiders great. I actually have seen the Raiders great because I am an old motherfucker. That's why I'm old. I saw the Rich Gannon when Rich Gannon and the Raiders went to the Super Bowl. That was a great team, and you could say that hey, they didn't win it, but they went there and they were a number one offense in the team in the league, and they were actually dominating people, especially in that AFC Championship game against the Tennessee Titans. I'm doing good, David. I'm excited for tomorrow, man. NFL season is the best, and like I've already got a lot of texts from my family members, from my own dad, and people like, "Hey, what are you doing on Sunday, the 23rd, or whatever? I don't know what the Sunday is." And I'm like, "What do you think I'm doing? What do you think I'm doing? Do not plan. Tell your family, tell your friends, do not plan shit on Sundays. What are we doing? Why are people still planning on Sundays and putting weddings and birthdays and asking for people to do stuff on Sundays in the last part of the year? You already know everybody's watching football. What's up, Brandon? How you doing? Home game for the Raiders tomorrow. Yes, they're expecting at least 70% Raider fans in SoFi Stadium. It's going to be crazy. If you are going to the game, they're saying black it out, so wear black. Have fun. I think the Raiders have a top 10 defense. I want to say top 12, right around that 10 to 12 range, because they still got to struggle, especially with Malcolm Koonce being out tomorrow. That's a huge loss for the Raiders. That's a huge loss for the Raiders and Malcolm Koonce. We're relying on the young guys to go out there and play the other defensive end spot. But we need to get the pressure on the quarterback. But I think the Raiders are I've talked about it. I think the Raiders have some of the best safeties in the league back there, and they're able to move people around to where they need to go. So Marcus Epps and Trayvon do their job, and I think they're very underrated back there. How many wins for the Detroit Lions? I had it written down. Like you could tell, like I can look right here. Detroit Lions. I am going 11-6, winning their division. So I have the Detroit Lions 11-6. We got to get better safeties. I watch the game. Watch the game. I know that they struggle at times, but just watch what they do and the leadership that they have back there. You'll start to like them a little bit more. What section am I sitting in? I don't know. I have no idea yet. I love Luke. I don't love Luke Getsy, but I like Luke Getsy's approach to the run game. Let's just say that. I think he needs to have a better play calling game. But his philosophy of running the ball and the 12-man personnel, I like it, and I think he has the right intentions, but some of the play in the preseason, some of his play calling was questionable, and I think hopefully, like I said, I touched on the Raiders coaching staff earlier in the game where they have that Joe Philbin, they have the Edgar Bennett, they have these guys with a lot of experience that could probably get in there and be like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing?" and change it up a little bit and not be. And that's one thing Antonio Pierce. I love Antonio Pierce as a head coach. Is he's not afraid to change shit up when it's not going right. He's not afraid to shake it up. Um, Yeah, and I talked about that earlier, shortage. I said no matter what we see from the quarterback position this year, no matter if Gardner Minshew has a great year and leads us to the playoffs, the Raiders are trying so hard to change their identity, but the identity starts at the quarterback position. So if the Raiders fail to do anything with the quarterback position next offseason, then we can never change our identity. And it's going to be a long time until we do it. Miami, Buffalo, Tennessee, and Dallas. I do like the Tennessee pick, but I think the Chicago Bears win that one. I love the hat. This is cool. I appreciate it. I get a lot of compliments on this. I hate the new rules. The kickoff rule. I think we're going to see more kickoffs, but then I was listening to Bill Belichick, and if you listen to Bill Belichick, he was like, the new kickoff rules ain't going to change nothing because what's 5 more yards? He goes, if I don't have to practice special teams at practice, and I don't have to spend the 20, 30 minutes on special teams during practice, and all I got to do is give up 5 yards, it's worth it. So that's it's something interesting, and we haven't seen a lot of good kickoffs in the first 2 games, right? So I mean, it was something that I was interested. Bill Belichick as a commentator or on the Pat McAfee show, excellent. I love watching him. He's doing a great job on there. Something that we love to see. Okay, so somebody touched on that one. He said McDummy wanted Garoppolo when we should have taken C.J. Stroud. Yes, but would we have gotten the deal done with C.J. Stroud or with the Arizona Texans or the Houston Texans for C.J. Stroud? I doubt it. I don't know if we had enough to go up there and do it, or if the Texans would have done it, because I think the Texans already had it in their mind that they were going to do whatever they could do in the draft to walk away with Anderson and walk away with C.J. Stroud. And I know even though people are putting it out there, if you go back and you watch the footage of the draft day of the Arizona Cardinals GM in his war room, he's saying we have multiple offers on the table, and one of them, are we going to go with Las Vegas? And he goes, no, and he takes that one off. So I think the Raiders were there the whole time, but they weren't willing to do enough. And everybody acts like the whole world was saying C.J. Stroud was going to be the best quarterback. Remember, they were talking about C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young as a down year in the NFL draft, and they were talking about how C.J. Stroud coming out of Ohio State and had the Ohio State curse on him, and then all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Oh, I knew C.J. Stroud was going to be best. I knew he was going to be the best." It's not like nobody had huge grades on C.J. Stroud, and you can go back and watch some of the experts, and it's right there until after his week 1, after he started to do good. Then everybody's like, "Yeah, we knew it. We already knew it." Palmer's very underrated. I think Palmer's a very good wide receiver, but until he proves that he's at an elite level, you're going to just treat him like a regular wide receiver. No, Anthony, I don't know the actual injury to Malcolm Kuntz. All you keep seeing is an injury to his knee that was non-contact. But anyways, guys, if you guys are watching, I'm promoting a couple T-shirts. Check them out right here. Fit Down Shop, fitdown.shop. You can see the 2 Raider shirts that are on there. The reason the Charger one is on there because I'll be handing these out tomorrow at the game. But for a limited time only, if you use the 5D fam promo code, you get 10% off. And I'll be wearing this shirt tomorrow at the Raider game in SoFi Stadium if you guys want to see it. So check it out. I got the shirts on the YouTube channel if you guys want to check that out. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm excited. I'm excited for what the Raiders season is going to bring. And I think Raider fans have done a great job this offseason where we didn't build up the preseason, right? We were pissed off at the Dallas game because we expected our offense to look better. We were pissed. And I think we were right to be pissed off at that Dallas preseason game of what we saw and the bullshit that we saw out there. But then the Raiders turned it around and they put on a good performance against the San Francisco 49ers in the preseason, and they got the work done. Just don't get discouraged early on in the season. Like I said, our goal is to be better in week 18 than what we were at week 1. And everybody buying in as the step goes. And that's how every team is. Every team has to get better. And you don't know how good or how bad a team is till about week 4, week 5. That's when you start realizing going, all right, that team's not going to be shit. That team really is good. That team is going to struggle a lot more. Week 4, week 5 is when you really start seeing teams turn into the playoff teams that you know that they're going to be, or they start to go downhill, and you're like, now we're on coach watch. When's so-and-so getting fired? So remember to relax when you have your expectations. Maybe not even go into the season with expectations, right? Maybe go in there with saying, hey, whatever happens, happens. And because if you don't have expectations, they can't be they can't be messed up, right? If you don't have expectations, you can't be disappointed. So appreciate the heart, JC Wrestling, appreciate it. But I've been on here for an hour now. Hope everybody's ready for the game tomorrow. Hope you guys are ready to see Max Crosby. Let's do this right now before we do anything. Max Crosby. Let's go over under 2 sacks. Over under 2 sacks. So he has to have 2.5 if you want to go over, and he has to have 2 or less to lose the bet. Over under Max Crosby 2 sacks. Go ahead and throw that in the comments. JC, you changed your name, JC? Or is that just a different one? Over 2, 4. Oh, Richie's going with 4. There we go. Joe Alt versus Max is going to be a good one. Under, they're going to double team him out there. Under. So we got a couple people with the under, a couple people with the over. There we go. 2. Oh, 2 exactly. Some are saying let's push it. Going to take a few games for him to get going. There we go. 2 at the most. I think I will take the push 2. I wouldn't go over. I would love to see him go over, but if I was a betting man, I would probably take the under just to be safe, because 2 or more sacks is a lot. But I would love to see it. Somebody's saying how many over under on Derwin James interception. I don't see Derwin James getting an interception. Maybe a big hit. If anybody got an interception, it would be Asante Samuel Jr. What about Khalil Mack? Well, Khalil Mack last year was a tale of two players, right? The first game against the Raiders and Aiden O'Connell, Khalil Mack had 7 sacks in the one game, and then when he played the Raiders at the end of the season, he got shut down. He had 0 sacks, and he looked 6 sacks. There we go. So I think it was 7 total for the game, right? So what Khalil Mack is going to show up tomorrow? Is Joey Bosa going to cry tomorrow because he's going to say that people are holding him? How long does Joey Bosa play? Because it's only a matter of time until he goes out with an injury. Not knocking the guy, just what happens to him. But yeah, both offensive lines have question marks. Both defensive lines need to stop the run, and both teams want to do the exact same thing. sorry, I don't want to jinx your team, Bolts, but I'm just saying Joey's history hasn't been there. Jack Jones over under. So is Jack Jones going to get an interception or not? So how about that? If you guys think Jack Jones is going to get an interception tomorrow, hit yes or put yes in the comments right there. Vikings or Giants? I'm taking the Vikings tomorrow. There's absolutely zero faith that I have in Daniel Jones. Look, if if you watch the Hard Knocks of the Giants at all this offseason, right? If you watch anything that the Giants did on TV, their own general manager, every time he could, threw Daniel Jones under the bus. He every time, maybe we could look for a new quarterback. Maybe we could do this. If their own team, their own front office does not have faith in Daniel Jones, why am I going to have faith in him? Why would I ever pick the Giants to win that? Who will have more sacks tomorrow? Somebody's asking Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett. That's a damn good question. That's a good one. I think it's going to be Myles Garrett. I think that Dallas Cowboy makeshift offensive line is probably one of the reasons I have the Browns winning tomorrow. Is Myles Garrett is going to have a hell of a game tomorrow. Giants maybe were the worst team in the NFL. Big Al's saying, guys, the moment has arrived. Yeah, opening season. What about Wilkins? Wilkins, I don't know. Wilkins is going to make his presence known. I don't know if he'll get a stack, but he'll make his presence known. And you're going to see a couple of big plays out of Wilkins. And Raider fans are going to start falling in love with them. Like I built Wilkins up since December of last year, where I was like, if the Raiders go after one person, and here's the thing. Like, I know a lot of fans, if Brock Bowers scores a touchdown tomorrow, a lot of Raider fans are going to be like, aren't you the one that were upset that the Raiders drafted Brock Bowers? Wrong. When the Raiders drafted Brock Bowers, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? One, because it's a luxury pick for the Raiders. I know how great Brock Bowers is and what he can bring to the offense. But if you watched the Eagles game and you saw how good Mitchell was, wouldn't you love Mitchell on our defense? Wouldn't you have loved a defensive back like Mitchell going into week one? If you watch the Seattle game and you watch Byron Murphy, I would love having Byron Murphy on the defensive line to improve our defensive run game with having Max Crosby. Imagine having Max Crosby, Wilkins, and Murphy, and then Coons or whoever it is. Holy shit. That's what my thinking is, just defense. And I know Antonio Pierce was probably pounding that table in that draft room going, I've been preaching defense and stopping everything and going more towards defense, and we're going to take an offensive tight end. You know he was pounding the table wanting a defensive guy. That was my question. And like I talked about earlier, be a fan. When you're watching the game, go ride the roller coaster up and down. And that's exactly how I take anything in football. I don't take, like yesterday, Josh Jacobs looked like shit in the first half. He had a couple great runs in the second half. But I made a video talking about Josh Jacobs possibly being the third best running back on the Green Bay Packers. Because at that time, he looked like shit. Brock Bowers will keep those legs pumping until the whistle blows. Yeah, and the Raiders got him blocking. You're going to see a lot of blocking out of Brock Bowers. And I think one of the guys that is underrated and people have forgot about is the other tight end that we have in Mayer. You're going to see a big game, a couple big games out of him this year. Michael Mayer should be getting open because think about it. You got Devontae Adams, who notoriously has great games against the Chargers, right? They're going to have to do whatever they can. Jacoby Myers, a very underrated wide receiver on the other side. Trey Tucker, what are they going to do with Trey Tucker? They're going to send him across the top, over the top, and try to hit a bomb for 50 yards. And that's going to do what? That's going to have to keep the defense honest. And they're going to be like, oh, shit, now we got to stay back just a little bit. Oh, Barney and Friends says that I'm fat and I need to pay attention to my health. Go screw yourself. When you're like, you must be a pedo if you like Barney and Friends. Like, that's your thing is Barney and Friends, and you're telling me to watch out. Come on, pedo. Yeah, defense, football is back. That's crazy, huh? Oh man. Anyways, but yeah, I think the Raiders' offense is going to do a good job. I think they're running. I'm very excited to see the Raiders' running game. I want to see Zamir White at least go for 65 and a touchdown. At least that's like my minimum. What we need to see Zamir White, and we saw some great runs from him. What did he do against the first run against the Cowboys? I think he ran for like 19 yards on that first carry. Where can you get the hat? The key, King Raider Merch is what he changed his name to on Instagram. King Raider Merch on Instagram. Check him out. Yes, I will be at the game tomorrow. So if you guys, please do not be afraid. I know I go to a game, and I'm not saying like I'm anything big or anything like that, but I notice a lot of people that are my wife will be walking with me, and people are like, "Oh, and that's Joe," and like say what's up to me. I have no problem with you stepping up and talking to me. Like don't ever think that I won't talk to you. I love talking Raider football, and I love talking to people, and that's what I do this for. Yes, NFL Mike will be with me. If you watch the MJT podcast, which is back here, MJT Football Podcast, Tony Tucker will be along with us, and like I said, we'll all have these T-shirts on. This is our company, the Fit Down Shop. So we'll have those on, but yeah, we'll have a great time. But I'm going to end the YouTube stream right now. YouTube, have a great time. TikTok, I'll continue